Good day, everyone, and welcome to our Smart Resource. We're here today with Ben Rayo, actually. Is that correct? Ben Rayo?
You know what? It's been butchered my entire life, so it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. It is Rayo, like mayo.
All right. Well, we're still glad to have Ben here. Ben is a partner at Mom's House and is responsible for national relationships with senior care communities and other industry referral partnerships. Ben has a very extensive background in technology, business coaching, real estate, investment, and several senior living related businesses. Ben grew up around the senior living industry in Louisville, Kentucky, and now lives in Lee's Summit, Missouri with his wife of 23 years, and their Rhonda, and their two children, Charlie and Maddie, and three dogs, Charlie Dog, Luna, and Juniper. How does your son Charlie feel about being named?
Well, Charlie Boy came first, and Charlie Dog came second. And Charlie Dog was a rescue. All of our dogs are rescues, and his name was already Charlie, and we just knew it was a sign that we had to keep his name. So it's right. Charlie Boy or Charlie Dog, depending on who you're looking for.
Great. Well, everybody, thank you for your patience, and we'll go ahead and get started. And Ben, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, and excited to talk to you about Mom's House and what we do all over the country to help senior communities to move seniors in faster without any realtor fees or anything associated with when a senior needs to sell their house. So our mission is to help the families in their biggest challenge. When that senior is going into a care community, as you know, it's a very stressful time, and it's a decision and a journey for these families. And we created Mom's House to help make that journey easier for the families, try to reduce the stress and help that senior to be able to get into a care community faster. Today's journey for a senior that needs to sell a house to free up capital to move into a community tends to be pretty long, and with COVID-19 has become even more challenging with the limitations of having people come in and out of houses. So today, when you talk about a senior that needs to sell a house, the adult children many times live over 400 miles away. The house has not been touched many times. We deal with a lot of kitchens that are avocado, or that sunflower yellow, or a lot of the stuff that's 30, 40, 50 years old. So the family has to go and they have to clean the house out, and then they have to go get contractor bids to go touch up the paint, do some of the cleanup. A real estate agent or somebody might ask them to say, hey, you really should update something in the house. Everybody thinks carpet and paint's gonna solve the world's problems when it comes to rehabbing a house. So that happens. Now you're about 90 days. You get photos, you get listings, and then you have to deal with the showings, which is all these people in and out of the houses with COVID has become even more challenging. And then finally, you get it under contract, you get it sold, and the family and the senior receives the money from the sale of the house. The process could take 6 months, may take longer. And one of the things that's maybe slowing people down from moving into your community or being able to services in your community. The journey with Mom's House is pretty simple. Once we're notified of a senior and a family, we're dealing typically with the adult children. Once we have been introduced to that family, typically we can get that connected to one of our certified Mom's House buyers in the whole country, and the house is sold in less than 30 days. That helps you guys to get the move-ins right away. We reduce all the stress for the family as far as who's going to pay for the rehab, how that's going to happen, what are we going to sell the house for, and hiring all those people. And that pretty much eliminates all of that from that entire process. We built this business around compassion. My partner and I in this business, he's been working with seniors in the real estate industry for 8 years. Doing this, I've been in the senior community since a kid, in and out of it, both working and just around it, as my mother worked 30 years in nursing homes, paratransit, Kentucky. I'd always been sensitized. And actually, when I was a kid and I used to go visit where my mom worked, and I was a young blonde-haired boy with big curly hair, I used to just wander around the nursing home, and it was like they felt like they saw their grandkids coming to visit, and they just, come sit on my lap, come talk to me, what's going on. So we really get it, and we have this whole thing around how do we serve the families. So with what we do at Mom's House, there's never any really agents involved at all. There's no realtor fees. There's no 6% commissions on anything. And our certified buyers don't charge anything to the families or to the communities. So what we do is that we certify people to hit a certain standard and keep them at a certain standard in our program, so they know how to work with the families and how to work with long-term care communities and how to be compassionate and be advisors to these families in a really stressful time. So you may be asking what the Mom's House Certified Program is and how do we certify these people all over the country. So we have a onboarding application process, and we go through a bunch of different questions and different curriculum to make sure that they're the right fit. We're limited to the number of people that we certify in each market. They're required to be very experienced in buying houses. We have a 2-day training. You might notice that I'm coming to you today from a hotel room. It's because I've traveled to St. Louis, and we're certifying 15 markets this week. We've been doing a lot of that over Zoom, and we just resumed doing our live certifications. So we have about 15 markets that are coming in and doing this certification live. And then we have about 10 markets that are coming in to do that through Zoom. So we do these certifications once or twice a month. And so these people have already paid to get certified, and it's a pretty significant amount that they pay. We make money as a company that we put the certification program together to serve these families. So the 2-day training, there's a 100-page workbook. There's questions and tests that they take. We have all of our curriculum in an online academy as well, so they can push it out to people that work for them and understand how to work with the seniors and how to be sensitive and how to work with the communities. We know these leads for the communities and these prospects are your gold, and we want to really make sure that they're taken well care of. We have a private Facebook community with all of our people all over the country where people ask questions and network together. We have a mentorship term that we do for the first year where we're mentoring everybody that's coming through and helping them to make sure they're successful. And then we also have a continuing education requirement for everybody that goes through certification. So people come in and go through the certification once a year, and then they have the right to be connected with communities that we have as referral partners. So we set up referral programs with long-term care communities, with placement agents, home health care, elder law attorneys, VA financial benefits, all different types of people that are dealing with seniors all over the country. And they are referring families to us that need help to sell a house. And then we will connect one of our face-to-face certified members with that prospect. Although a lot of that's happening over the phone or through Zoom or through even some Facebook Live with the adult children, if there's sensitivity to coming to the house. But then that's, I'll talk a little bit more about how that works. So really, I want to make sure what you take away from this is that we're not real estate agents. We're not charging the 6%. We're eliminating any of the rehab costs associated with fixing up that house, any of the make-ready costs that go to that. One of the biggest values that we bring is all the stuff. Many times, family members are going through and they're carrying stuff out of the basement, and all these collections and all this stuff has been accumulated over 30 years. And we can take that pain away from them. We know that they're downsizing from 2,000 square feet to 150 square feet, and they can't take everything. And so the family typically takes the heirlooms and the things that are really important, and we will just take all the stuff and either donate, recycle, or throw it away, depending on what it is. There's no scheduled showings, so that eliminates people coming in and out of the house from a traditional listing. the time delays and the stress with all of this process totally goes away. And, you know, the confidence of the family is in good hands. Any real estate agent can go out and list a house, but we're teaching people how to really work with the families and all the sensitivities. So we put those local certified people in each market. We have that all over the country, and we have a waiting list and for people to go into markets. So have no fear that we have coverage all over the United States. The last business that I had was a national business that had almost 10,000 real estate investors. So our network is very large. But I will reiterate again, in small markets, there's usually only one or maybe two. In larger markets, if you took, for example, a Los Angeles, a Philadelphia, a Dallas, those kinds of markets, we have anywhere from 2 to 4 certified agents, because some people don't work deals in certain parts of the country. So they'll go out and make a fair cash offer to purchase the house as is. We'll close in weeks and not months with no closing costs. So that's another cost that's eliminated. Typically, there's $2,000–3,000 of closing costs when somebody sells a house. It frees up all the equity so that they have equity so that they can get moved in quicker to your care community. The stuff, of course, I talked about, that's what we take care of. The families are so much happier. We just get rave reviews from families that we work with and help and support. And then when we get involved, a lot of times it's just freeing up in time, because we know sometimes care communities get involved in some of that process on how do we solve this problem for this family, because if we can solve it, then they're going to move in and the senior can start getting the care that they need. And we know move-ins are important for your business, so we can relieve some of that stress. I put this in. This was last week, and of course I had to redact a few things out of it for private purposes. But this testimonial just actually brought a tear to my eye. This gentleman's name is Ed, and he's the adult child, and his mother had a house, and the message he left for me was, Ben, this is Ed. Thank you calling concerning the house up in York, Pennsylvania. Just wanted to let you know we made a settlement yesterday. Your buyers in York, Pennsylvania, Integrity First home buyers, were very efficient, did very well. I also recommended your name to a person up in Boston, so you may get that email soon to get an email or a call. If you need to reach me, you can call me back, and thank you so much for everything you've done for us. This is why we do this. We're helping families all over the country, and we'd love to help the families that you guys are working with as communities. We'd love to be another tool in your kit to help you to get move-ins faster. Things are very challenging with COVID. One of the things that we do is we make sure that since COVID started, we're making sure that everybody that's certified has experience in making sure that they can do video calls or communicate with those families. So how it kind of works for the care communities is you would refer a prospective resident to mom's house. That comes in through our system and intake, and then we will go and connect that person with a certified buyer, somebody that's been through our program, to go work with that family. That certified buyer meets face-to-face with the family. And again, I said during COVID, that's kind of up to the family. The buyers don't really have a problem with it. We leave that up to the families and their comfort level. We supply communities a status report. So if you send us one of your coveted leads, we're going to give you feedback on what's going on with that. It's not just going to fall into a black hole and you're never going to hear from it again. We're going to let you know what's going on with that. We know that that's important for you to get feedback and know where we are to help you in your sales cycle and what's going on. The buyer will purchase the house, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to close between 2 to 4 weeks. And they're going to pay cash, and none of the things that we talked about, all the fix up and listing and the people and the traffic in the house and all those headaches and time, all just goes away. And that frees up the money to allow the senior to move in faster into your community and get the care that they need, deserve, that they want. We make the process very simple. So the journey, when you kind of look at it side by side, the traditional real estate market really can take 6, 7, 8 months just to do all those different things. And that's the problem that we're solving all over the country to help communities get people to move in faster and help seniors and the families have less stress and get more care. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to momshouse.com. We have a brochure that you can download. It's our senior community brochure that gives more information that if you need to share it with somebody else within your community, that's a PDF that you can go and share there. You can contact me directly. I cover the entire United States for Mom's House as far as working with the senior care community. So I'm on that national account side. So I'm used to talking to communities all over the country and all the different stakeholders that are part of that journey that the senior's taking to move into senior care. We'd love to help you. We'd love to be a resource for your community. And I know when I do these things, there's lots of questions. So I'd love to open it up to if we've got some questions to start answering those.
Yeah, so this is Debbie, and if anybody has questions, you can put them into the question pane, and then we'll, there's an interesting question. All right, Ben, how do you deal with hoarders and bed bugs, and I guess homes that are maybe in not ideal conditions?
So that's a good question, and you know what? We don't call them hoarders. We call them aggressive collectors. It's something we deal with, and it's something that the real estate buyers that we are with understand and are used to. So not a problem for those things. That's not something that's abnormal to see. Once they purchase the house, they'll clean it, they'll condition it. They may be rehabbing it, or it may be going up for sale. It just depends on what's going on, but they're used to dealing with those things. That's no surprise. It's no curveball. We're used to seeing those things all the time.
Yeah, I have to say, I would have loved to have had this in my back pocket when I was selling to families, because you know, you'd work so hard to get the sale, and then you'd get to, oh, well, we can't do anything until we sell the house. And you went from, you know, putting it onto your projection report, like this is going to close this month, to thinking this could be 4 or 6 months. So, you know, I think it's today we have to figure out every which way we can to eliminate, you know, any objections and speed up, you know, the closing process. So to me, this is a great kind of new addition that we, you know, we just didn't have that before. And I know on our discovery forums, we usually had a question, kind of a two-part question. One was, do you have a home to sell in order to make this transition? And then the second part was, do you have to sell that home and make the, and those are two very different questions. And so, you know, when you do get those folks that
They are.
Yeah, they just, you know, they have to sell the home before they make the move, and they don't want to jump through hoops of short-term bridge loans and all of those things with high interest rates. This is a much kind of cleaner solution. So, Beth Dutton, hey Beth, it is good to see your name here. Do you have agents in Florida?
Yes. Yeah, we have coverage all throughout the United States. In every market, we have people waiting for markets to come in. So if we don't have somebody certified in a market, that typically that's driving that waiting list for people to come in and get certified. So what part of Florida?
It's there are various locations throughout Central Florida, based in Orlando, and then spread.
Yeah, so whether that's like Tampa, Orlando, and even South Florida, you know, Fort Myers, Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, up in the Panhandle, whether that's Pensacola, Panama City, you know, we're going to have coverage all through Florida.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, Beth just wanted to make sure West Palm, the Villages, Orlando area would be covered. So I guess, you know, be sure to put your questions in. So in terms of how people kind of get started with you and how do they let their prospects know about this service? Do you have any brochures they can include in their sales collateral, or how can you help them make this service available to their prospects?
So if you go out to momshouse.com and you put your name in there as a senior community, we'll follow up. And what we do is we typically, communities want to work differently, just depending on how they run their businesses. So sometimes we create a collateral piece that they can include into a package to give to every family. Sometimes a community would like to have a resource page where they can just go, and it's a web page so they can refer that family to us, and they can fill that out and that'll come right to us. We have referral partners that are that send us an email to one of our inside people that actually get it into our system and work on getting it assigned to somebody. And then at the highest level, connectivity at a technology level, to where we have a connection between a CRM that a community is using and our system, to where when a checkbox or something that's checked that somebody has a house they need to sell, that they're actually sending that to us electronically. It's coming to our system and it bypasses any manual. So just depending on the comfort, how somebody wants to work with us, we can do any of those things.
Yeah, I love the CRM integration. I mean, I think there's nothing easier than the salesperson just, ask the question, do you need to sell the home prior to making the move? And that immediately creates an alert or a referral. I think that's a solution. We have questions about.
Go ahead. I was just going to add one more thing. One of the things that's nice that we can work with your community with is that if you want to do a one-off webinar and there's something you want us to get involved in, we're more than happy to do that, to do a webinar. If you're going to bring people together, if you're going to be marketing, do you need to sell a house to move into long-term care, those kinds of things, we're happy to do a webinar to help in some way, just to be another resource.
Yeah, that's great. Could do a Facebook Live event or a YouTube streaming event, and maybe make it part of a financial solutions overview where you can give people a bunch of different solutions. We had questions about Texas. I know specifically you had said Dallas and Fort Worth. You have coverage.
What part of Texas?
Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yeah, so Dallas is no problem. Austin, Houston, Antonio, El Paso, we've got covered in Texas. That's no problem.
And then we had a question about determining the asking price. So how do your certified buyers settle with the family on that kind of as is asking price or settlement
Sure.
price?
I'm going to go back to this slide. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Just make sure. Okay. So when you look at this process today with traditional real estate, you've got all these different expenses. You also have this entire journey of time, which means they're paying more insurance, they're paying more taxes. The 6% they pay a real estate agent to do that is, $6,000 for every 1,000 or 100,000 rather. All of those things are eliminated. The cost to do the rehab is eliminated. So I'll give a quick example. If a property that is totally fixed up so it gets market value is worth $200,000, then if the bathrooms need to be updated and the kitchen needs to be updated and you need to do paint and the exterior and the gutters and roof and all these things need to happen, that could be $50,000 or $60,000 worth of upgrades. To somebody that owns a home, they're paying retail because they're hiring somebody. The certified investors teams that they're typically rehabbing, and so it may only cost them half amount. That difference. The other thing that's really interesting that people don't realize is the amount of money that you spend on a house. So the national Association of Remodeling does a cost versus value comparison, and that shows that there's almost nothing that you do to a house that gets you 100% of the money that you put into it. So if you spend $30,000 to rehab a kitchen, it only adds $22,000 worth of value. A deck for $2,000 adds $1,500 worth of value. So all these things that people are putting in and they're spending money and not getting the value back out. So by the time you add all those different things together, you may have somebody coming in and say, look, I'm willing to buy the house. If it were all fixed up, it's worth $200. I'm willing to write a check today, close in 2 weeks for $150. The family ends up within a few percent of where they would have ended up, but they don't have that 6-month period of all the headaches of clean out, fix up, paint, repairs, traffic in and out of the house. Who's going to do it? The good one that we always hear about in the family, who's paying for the rehab? And when we sell the house, does that mean that they get their money back plus something because they fronted the money? So there's a lot of things that get eliminated, but a lot of people that want to go this route, they just don't want to deal with any of the stress. I mean, we probably could all go change our own oil, but we don't do it because there's a value in to go to somebody to pay $40 to go to a Valvoline and have them change the oil, or we could do it ourselves for 15 or 20. So there's a big value there, and a lot of it is the lack of not wanting to have to deal with it. Most of those adult children are still working. They live remotely. So hopefully that answered the question. If there's more to that question, please just let me know.
I think the second part, Ben, is just kind of what the business model is in terms of, how are you generating your revenue? I assume it would be getting a percentage of the flip when the house is resold, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So most of our money, sorry, I'm trying to get to this. Most of our money, these people that are going through this course, they pay $9,000 to do this. It's part of the bar that we put together for them to come in, that they're willing to invest in this. It's just one more checkbox that we have to say, hey, we're not charging $200 for somebody to come and get certified. Most of the people that are getting certified are doing between 50 and 300 house purchases a year. They have their own cash. They have their own teams. They have their own people that work with the family, their admin. We know we can trust them. And then when we send them through their certification, they understand the sensitivity of working with the family. So most of our revenue is generated from certification. I will disclose that when a referral comes through, that if that person sells that house, we get a success fee. So they pay us a few $100s for that lead when they purchase that lead from us. And so we are monetizing our business on that side as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And you think about it from the provider side, that cost of vacancy is just so high. So if you could get that, you got 10 open studios and you can get that filled, 4 months earlier and start generating that revenue, and then have a win for the families so that they don't have to deal with the yard sales and all the things that nobody wants to do. I just like it because I feel like, it's a situation where everybody wins, which is always what we look for.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've talked about talking to communities to see, we would allow them to kind of co-brand this with their community as their program. So it's we have our Mom's House program that we can purchase your house and get that purchased within 30 days. And there's going to be things that are, if somebody has a house, that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to fix no matter what. And that stuff does come up.
Okay, we had a little bit of audio trouble there, but I don't think we have any other.
Yeah, I got a message that said that there was something was unstable.
Yeah. So we don't have any other questions. Oh, wait, hang on. Do you include an example in your brochure as you referenced with like the home costing 200,000, kind of what it would cost to rehab, maybe what percentage the family would get back as those improvements depreciate, and then what's the quick, easy, I'll write you a check in 2 weeks. I think what Beth is suggesting is that as you continue to build your marketing collateral, that those examples would be very helpful.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can do. We do that, and that's part of the training that we're teaching because the people that are on the ground or the families are dealing with those same questions that Beth has, that everybody has. Well, how much am I going to get? Is it going to be a fair offer? You guys are just low ballers. It's really not, and people just don't understand that putting the money into the house doesn't get all their money back. And when you back out the fees and all the other expenses of owning the house for another 6 months, and then put on the emotional stress, that becomes a very fair offer. The testimonial from York, Pennsylvania, that was last week, is a great example. The families are thrilled.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good differentiator, and anything that reduces the barrier to move in and speeds up that time to close, the better it is for everybody. So we will wrap it up.
Yeah, you're doing this.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate what you were saying, that if you're offering a program like Mom's House to your clientele and your competitor 6 blocks down the street isn't, you're going to have a competitive advantage to get somebody moved in faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody for attending. We will send out the recording and then any additional information and a follow-up. But please check out Mom's House, reach out to Ben. I think his contact information is on the last slide. We'll leave that up for a minute, and then we'll also make sure to send it out as a follow-up. So share it with your teams. No big deal to sign up. It's not like you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So I would say, get more information, and hopefully it'll be a good resource for you. And thanks for attending.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And if you're interested in having your community be part of our referral network, go to momshouse.com or just email me directly. And then we'll have a one-on-one call with the community. And then we have a total onboarding process that talks about how you're interacting with your prospects, what are the collaterals that you think that you need, and then we'll build those and give those to you so you'll have them.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Ben. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.